Where did they get a load of me?
That's actually not bad. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today, let's take a look at the Medicom MAFEX Batman The Dark Knight Returns Joker. Two things right off the bat. This is not my favorite version of Joker, so I never got the Mattel version. There will not be a comparison to that later on in the video. Although now that I think about it, I wanted that figure for custom fodder, and I could have swore I bought it, but looking through various tubs and places and hidey holes and nooks and crannies, I can't seem to find it. So I'm sure a week from now, I'll be just rumbling around, look over, and it's standing right on a shelf somewhere. And it's not my favorite version, but I needed a companion piece to the MAFEX Dark Knight Returns Batman. You know how it is, you gotta have yin and yang. And then two, DHL, y'all's crazy. I don't know what kind of secret teleportation device you have to get stuff from Japan to me in less than 2 days. It's crazy. Looking at the package, I like how plain it is. It really suits the feel of the figure. Just black, DC logo, DC words, DC names, MAFEX, Medicom. And then the window shows most of what we're getting here, which looks pretty stripped down. Well, I don't know. There may be something back there. On the side, pretty picture of the figure, more words, different order. On the back, yet more pictures showing you what you get, what to expect, the options, same words, arranged differently.
Scary bear.
On the other side, there we go. Another picture, more words on top, words again on bottom, different words. Got your warnings, choking hazard. Don't put them in your mouth. Some notices, some phone numbers, that unpiratable hologram sticker. But let's get this open. See what's going on here. Going through the bottom. Oh, 2 knives and 2 cigarettes. Oh, and the MAFEX stand taped to the back. I always say it. Not my favorite stands, but they do what they're meant to do. They stand things. Not too strong, but they do have the screws where you can tighten them up. How tight can I get it? That's not bad. Without tightening, the stand itself is almost too heavy for it. And of course, you know, I'm shaking it around. Let's tighten it up anyway. Yeah, much better. Then there's a graphic on the inside of the back, but it's the actual box, so you can't pull it out, use it as a diorama or anything. Okay, I'm gonna start this off by saying I do like the figure, but it does straddle the line between cool looking for a dude in a suit and kind of boring, which is not a great start to a review. But as far as, you know, the character in the storyline as represented in plastic form, it does a good job. But if you're not into the Joker or the Dark Knight Returns or anything, you'll look at this and just go, The first thing I noticed out of the package was that the suit isn't just a stark white. It's kind of a gray. It's kind of an off-white. And then it has this beautiful shading on it. Well, I say beautiful. It's strategically applied, I guess would be a better word for it. It's subtle, it follows some of the lines, but it also helps to darken down the suit from being too much like the skin tone. The gloves do go bright white. You were waiting for that, weren't you? But those are far enough away from the head to not be lost within that detail. It helps to bring that bright white, yeah, I'm gonna get sick of that real quick. It helps to bring that bright white down to another part of the figure. The tie is about the same color, just slightly darker, maybe same color with more shading on it. Then under that, I love the pastel purple shirt. I love how it doesn't jump out at you, but when you go looking for it, it's a slight contrast. And that also pokes out a little bit at the sleeve, which it should, and they didn't miss that detail. And then the shoes are also about the same color. So they had a limited color palette to work with here, but I feel like they translated it well. It could have been a gray and a blue and a white and a little detail work, and they could have called it a day, but they went an extra mile, which I appreciate because when we get to accessories, a little extra oomph here makes up for less oomph there. The sculpt also works too, and Medicom's gotten really good, or they've become known for taking an image on a comic page and giving it to you in action figure form. They're kicking ass with all the Batmans and the Jokers and the related characters. There's a smoothness to it, like the art, a few wrinkles at the waist, and then just here and there. Very sparse, but very effective. The Joker in The Dark Knight Returns was little in the middle, but he's got much shoulder. He's got little back. Is the tie a separate? No, it's a hard plastic like the torso itself. Then the jacket is a rubbery overlay out to the shoulders. And then there's the head. And I know the reason it's like this. It's from the story. But when you think of Jokers, this is not what you think of. I mean, there's the green, the white, the purple, and the red, but he's not maniacally laughing or grinning or smiling. It's just, again, I understand that was his character in the comic, but maybe this is why this isn't my favorite Joker ever. Even then, the slight shade work to the cheeks and then the purple hue around the eyes, all of that does so much to help it from becoming just a white blob on top of shoulders. Oh, that's so nicely done. The green hair also has a little shading to it, helps bring out the sculpted details, even though it is a little soft, but again, they're replicating what we see on the page. Another interesting aspect here is the articulation and the integration of that articulation. Is that enough shuns for you? There is a ball at the waist. I don't think there's anything in between, but the way the jacket comes down, and it does get in the way a bit. A lot of it is at the hips. You can get some ball joint to it. Some ASMR. Yeah. The limbs are also meant to be the straight suit pieces, you know, straight suit, jacket, arm, straight pants, leg. Breaking it with articulation, they did, I feel like they did as good as they could. Whenever you bend the joint, it does break a little bit, but that MAFEX joint that they usually put in there, it keeps it from gapping up. And that's the same for the arm. The elbow comes around. There is slight here and here, but it still looks pretty good. It's way better than I imagined it doing. Then the shoulders have this weird type. You remember Toy Biz Marvel Legends Wave 2 thing? It's got kind of that same inside cap joint that you can swing out. Yeah, that looks kind of nasty, but it brings his arm forward. And you can also go back and the arm pushes way in there in order to come up. But whenever you put it in the neutral position, it almost by itself goes, fills out the shoulder and doesn't break the silhouette. As soon as you go here, beautiful neutral position. Keeping with that articulation, can I get that off without pulling the neck? There's a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck and then a ball joint at the bottom. Together, goes up, looks, well, forward. That's a big old chin, so it kind of gets in the way. Look at the tilt though. Look at the tilt! Rotate side to side. Like I talked about, there's some kind of magical craziness going on here. But you can swing forward, hinges up. On the outside of that dumbbell joint, there's also rotation. Double elbow comes up to there. There's just too much thickness. Swivel hinge swivel at the wrist allows for all kinds of movement. You can in, and if you want, rotate it up and down, diagonal, wherever. Again, ball joint at the waist, hindered, but can get a little. Drop down at the hip, comes forward, goes back, goes... That's not a lot of out. Rotation at that assembly. Double knee, no, little past 90. It almost seems like, well, there's some socks sculpted above the shoe that I didn't notice, and I think it's a ball joint up in there. Or it may be some dumbbell, because I can shift forward and back. Back, forward, some rocker on there, and then a toe joint that goes boing. For accessories, Joker comes with 2 relaxed hands, comes with 2 splayed out hands, there's 2 cigarette holding hands, 2 knife wielding hands, 2 grip hands of some kind, and then of course 2 fists. Medicom continues to put those sprues on the extra hands, and I absolutely love this. 1, it keeps the hands together, and 2, those pegs going in there keeps the holes in the proper shape. It makes it a breeze to just left hand on a right arm. I meant there's been times in the past with MAFEX that the hands are super tight. You're worried about the wrist joints. I haven't had that problem since they started doing this sprue tree stuff. Joker comes with 2 of these knives, and pretty simple. There's a blade, there's a handle. It's a knife. And like I said, there's a hand specifically to hold the knife. There's no open part, it just slides right in. Looks fantastic. There's also 2 cigarettes. Be careful shoving it into that tiny hole between the fingers though. My fear was that I'd bend the cigarette itself, and it didn't happen. But since I put it in there, it's now staying in there, even when I don't have this hand in. It was a warm, balmy night down by the docks. Then we talked about the regular head. Great look. Looks awesome on the figure, but that does pop off. Now, a minute ago, I popped it off at the top of the neck. It's supposed to pop off at the bottom of the neck, and that all depends on where you pull. Then there's the alternate Joker head with the crazy laughing mouth, the batarang sticking out of the eye. And here we have the same subtle shading around the eyes, the red around the lips. I love the sculpt of the teeth, and I even like that there's no inside of the mouth. It's just a black hole. Makes it a little different than what we see in other action figures. Be careful of the batarang though. If you're messing with the head and trying to get it on and off, I think I put too much pressure on it and I've got some slight tear to it, I think. If you're wanting this for customizing purposes, the tombstone head with some blue tack on it, it does fit on it, but it ends up a little small, which we'll get to here in size comparisons. And then for the Marvel Legends hammer head that came with the chameleon, it's okay. I need to get it further down, I think, or something. It'd look okay, but again, not great. Height-wise, Joker is about 6¼ inches tall, which is a little smaller than I was expecting when you put it next to the Medicom MAFEX Dark Knight Returns Batman. And it's about the same with the Mattel version. And yes, I have this to go on my master shelf. That other Joker's gotta be somewhere. Still, oh, perfect pair here. Kind of fits in with the Medicom MAFEX Hush Batman and Superman, but obviously a different style. And then for customs, or if you're wanting to fit them into other 1/12 scale displays, here he is with the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Old School Stormtrooper and the Marvel Legends comic book style Black Panther. See, he's not as big and bulky as you would think or would want for Tombstone or Hammerhead. So at the end of the day, there's not much more to say than it's a great Dark Knight Returns Joker. It's a dude in suit. And now you see what I mean about the accessories. Extra hands, extra head, cigarette, knife. So he does seem a little bit lean in that department, but the engineering on the figure itself, oh, it's as good as it can get within the confines of the art style and what they were going for with this. If you're a super fan of Dark Knight Returns, you're gonna want this. It's a perfect representation there. Or if you like the Batman, you need him to pair him up. Which is the reason I got this, even though I'm not a fan of Dark Knight Returns. Or, well, it's not high up on my list like a lot of other storylines. So I'm not getting any of the others, but I had to have the pair to go against each other. But if you're not into Dark Knight Returns or Joker's portrayal in that series, then you're going to want to skip. Yeah, man, no. If you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. And that's why I'm just going to start calling these overviews. I am easily tempted. I'm easily swayed by the action figure aspects. Even if I don't know a franchise, I don't know a character, if it's nicely articulated and it has a beautiful shelf presence, I want it. But then again, I am reviewing action figures for the action figure aspect. You decide for yourself. If you want it, get it. If you don't, just say, to hell with you, Robo, and